you're not glorifying God, you're staying hidden, so you're not seeing. It's almost like saying, well, doesn't God deserve their worship? So it's like, shouldn't God be glorified? Like, that should be the starting point, and influence should follow.
Sure. Well, and God is glorified when believers, when we're able to shine a light on Him or lift Him up in a way that people can see who our God is. And so if we check out, that doesn't happen. We conform, we check out, we combat. Have you seen this? We can become combative with culture. In fact, sometimes it seems we as believers feel like that's what we're supposed to do. In a changing culture, it's hostile at times to Christianity, to just become combative, like we're at war with culture and non-believers. What happens if we become combative?
We fight back.
They fight back, and we create the war.
Or they just shut down completely.
They shut down completely.
If we're not careful, we become everything they accuse us of being.
If we're not careful, we become everything we could be accused of being. Yeah, our God is love, and God's love and compassion are on display in our lives. People will not see who our God is. And if we become combative, it will certainly appear that we serve a very combative, angry God. We know our God is both love and judgment, but our God is love. It's the very nature of His being. And we must embody that. We can conform, we can check out, we can combat, or we counter. Countering culture means engaging culture with conviction and compassion, standing firmly on the truth of God, empowered by the Spirit to extend the love of Christ to a lost and dying world. Our desire isn't to conquer but redeem. It matters what we do, how we do it, why we do it. How do we live this out? What does it mean to counter culture as we seek to make impact? Love your neighbor as yourself. Lynn.
Well, you and I were talking about wrestling a little earlier. There are counter moves to moves.
Lynn's a wrestling coach. I don't know if y'all know that. Don't get into a wrestling match with Lynn. I'm determined not to.
Jesus said,
Counter
look
moves.
on one side, turn it the other way.
Turn the other cheek.
If somebody asks you to carry a backpack 1 mile, carry it 2. He holds fire on the head of how he said by being good.
Counter moves. Yeah, that turn the other cheek. Well, that's kind of interesting. We'll talk about mine and Fallon's first conversation about this many years ago. Yeah, I was taught growing up, if someone strikes you as a kid in elementary school, something like that you turn the other cheek. Fallon was taught that you do whatever it takes to make sure that never happens again. Using force.
I sympathize. My father said, don't ever start it, but don't walk away from it.
Don't ever start it, but don't walk away from it. Yeah. We had this, I'm pretty sure we had that conversation on our first date. I think, probably, wrestling with that. It was when we were talking about getting married, I think. Okay, we're raising our kids. Someone hit some, I don't know if we still see eye to eye on that. All right, I mean, like counter moves. You know, if we respond in such a way that's so different what people expect. If we respond combative, that's conforming. That's what culture would do, isn't it? If we engage culture and we have a difference of opinion, they could get very combative with us. We get combative back. But if we respond so different than would be expected, there's a chance, right? Somebody may wonder, what's the difference in that person's something, you know? Counter moves. I love that, man. I'm taking that with me. I'm taking that with me forever. Counter moves in wrestling. So let's look to Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12, 1 and 2. Let's read this together. It says, therefore I urge you. With the I urge you. We want to read this as if someone is grabbing the shoulders. You know, I talked about that on Sunday. Eyeball to eyeball. The Apostle Paul says, therefore I urge you. You know, it just can't be read, therefore I urge you. You know, therefore I urge you is the conversation here, okay? There's an intensity behind this. This is significant. In fact, at Romans 12, what we have is after 11 chapters. Of course, we didn't have the chapters in the original. After all of this that he's written in Romans, he has all of this that we now have in chapters of 11 chapters, and then with 12, all of this to say this. This is the main idea, and it's the action application. Therefore, I urge you. That's what we're going to read. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy. And he's just talked about God's mercy. What he said about God's mercy is, you didn't deserve this. You were a sinful people. We were a sinful people. And God has shown mercy on our souls. And once again, it's not God has shown us mercy. It's God has shown us mercy with intensity. Can you believe it? Us. God has shown love to us. Mercy, he's not going to give us what we deserve. He sent his son Jesus. That's what he's been talking about. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, if you've got mercy, because we're not getting what we deserve, to offer your body as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. Bodies here means the totality of one's life and activities. You offer the totality of yourself as a sacrifice, living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform, and we're on this idea of conform. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. This is all that we've been talking about. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. The last part is, then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I want to share this. You know, of all the conversations that I have with people as a pastor, just someone wants to come to my office or leave me for lunch, and just something on their heart, on their mind. Outside of some struggle or somebody's sick or something like that, it's this question. It's God's will. What does God want me to do with my life? Or be situational. I've got this situation at work. And I explain the situation. I'm trying to discern what God's will is. What should I do? I've got this situation in the family with my son. And I don't know how to respond. And I want to do what God wants me to do. It's this question. Okay? question about how do I discern God's will? And here we have in Romans 12, it says, then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So if we look at the first part of this, about laying down our lives as sacrifice, and about not conforming to the world and conforming to the Lord and not the world, and it's then that we'll be able to see his will. Now we can see why the Apostle Paul would say, therefore, I urge you, because we're talking about being able to understand and discern God's will in this. Also, I want to backtrack here and talk about the sacrifice. Okay. And the idea of a sacrifice that these folks would have had, it's coming out of the Old Testament tradition. They're going to go pick out some livestock, a lamb, a goat. They're going to go out. They're going to pick something mediocre. They're going to go out and get the runt lamb. They're going to go get the best one. And that's difficult to do. It's, if you consider, if you got something that's your prized or whatever, the best thing that we got, and you're going to give it, that's difficult. Just, I mean, if you, like me, you want to squeeze, you want to hold it, you know, you don't think about it, you know. That's not a sacrifice. It's, we'll take the best and we'll give it up, give it for the Lord. And then here you have this idea of a living sacrifice.